Good Sunday afternoon, Facebook, and happy Memorial Day weekend. How's everybody doing this afternoon? I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm artist Susan M. Epperly, and I want to welcome you to Art Gallery Live. Art Gallery Live is a weekly virtual meet and greet, and you can think of the gallery for this meet and greet as being the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. You can get to that store through my Facebook page. You can also go on Amazon and just search for Tiger Lily Studios, Lily, and you will find my store with all of my artwork and all of the merchandise that features my artwork. So we put Art Gallery Live together, like I said, to be kind of a weekly virtual meet and greet where you can stop in and ask questions about the art that I present. You can ask about the inspiration, what the pieces are about, how I've constructed the pieces, whatever kind of questions you have, I'm happy to answer. And I'm going to keep an eye on the comments here so that if anyone wants to jump in and ask or comment, then I will see that and I can respond. So what we've been doing with Art Gallery Live is we've been featuring a different original piece every week. And I have it here with me, next to me, so that I can describe it and tell you all what it's about, what the meaning behind it is, some of the details about how I created it. And it's fun for me to tell my viewers about it, and it's fun for them to jump in and ask questions. So I hope that you'll feel free to do that. And so this week we are discussing this piece, which is called Queen Safine. And she is a 24 by 36 inch mixed media, very mixed media art piece. Mostly acrylic painting. Any painting that has been done in acrylic, but there are a lot of materials worked into this piece, as is usually the case with my pieces. This is one of the pieces from my Corona series. So for those of you who follow my page and are familiar with my work, you may have seen that the Corona series is one that I started in 2020. And I started that in part as a way for me to heal and respond to having been diagnosed with and treated for breast cancer, and also to a certain degree in response to the pandemic. Obviously, especially the beginning of the pandemic was a difficult time for a lot of us. And I just started painting, and it was really helpful for me, really therapeutic to get through that rough patch. And what I found is that the series that I started creating, I named it the Corona series because it features a series of female subjects in portrait style. They're all kind of whimsically illustrated, and they all are wearing their own unique crown. And that symbolizes to me the strength, the resilience that women are able to muster when necessary in response to whatever hardship may be in their path. So the pieces that I've created for the Corona series, again, they all feature a beautiful woman, always with a crown, usually beautiful hair of some sort. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short, sometimes it's up, down, you never know. And then a beautiful garment, and I usually, not in this case, but I usually incorporate some jewelry around their neckline and just go have a lot of fun with designing their costume, if you will, their headdress, their garment. And so it's really fun. It's been really fun for me because I get to play fashion designer / jewelry designer. I get to create all of the embellishments that are adorning these beautiful queens. And she's no different. She is a gorgeous underwater sea queen. Let's see, I want to talk just for a minute about the actual canvas that I've used to create this piece. I use 24 by 36 inch custom made canvases. They're made to my specs by a brilliant canvas maker who just does extraordinary work, top quality canvases. It's 3 inches thick, and so it's on a nice sturdy wooden frame with a crossbar in the back, and you can see those support bars in the corners as well. And then there is hanging hardware installed on the back so that when this beauty arrives at her final resting place, her home, hopefully forever home, she will be ready to just hang on the wall. So you'll also see here in this shot that I paint the edges of the canvas black, and then I do a paint treatment on the edges to correspond with the piece. So in this case, I've used silver, metallic silver paint. And so it's becomes kind of an extension of the piece. And because that's been done, you can hang the piece on the wall and not have to worry about framing. It's just going to look great, just put right up on the wall as soon as it arrives. So this piece is available to collect. You can link to it from the shop in my Facebook page. It is in the Amazon store. So you're always welcome to direct message me if you have questions about how to get to any of the things that we talk about here on the show, whether it's an original piece or some of the merchandise. You can also jump into the comments and I can direct you from there. So this piece, let's get a little bit more specific about the actual creation of it. So when I make my mixed media pieces, I like to talk about the fact that they've been constructed rather than just painted. So I do usually start with an acrylic background, which is the case here. I've painted, used some acrylic paint to paint the background. There are some bubbles and some texture going on with the background to kind of indicate an underwater scene. And then I have painted her visage with acrylic paint as well. But then I've gone in and I've used a lot of highly, highly textural materials to create her crown and her hair and her garment. So I'll start up here with her crown, and you hopefully can see how super highly textural it is. I've used some reclaimed garments, and that's actually part of, there's part of a sweater in there, there's part of a deconstructed necklace, there's some individually applied resin beads, there's some resin gems, there's a big glass jewel there in her crown and a corresponding one here in her garment. So that has actually been constructed separately, and that's something that I do fairly frequently, where I will make the crown or the headdress that will go on my subject separate and apart from the actual canvas, and then I will apply it to the canvas. I use a lot of glue, sometimes I do stitching, but it's really securely attached on there, so there's no worries in terms of that. But that has been constructed separately. And then I did lots of collage work and layered work here to create her hair. There's fabric, there's paper, origami paper, some tissue paper. This fabric, which I've used for some of the strands of her hair, I've also used for the bodice of her dress. And you will see that there is a fish scale texture to it, and that is actually a knitted material. It was a knitted sweater, a garment that I picked up at a vintage shop, and this fish scale pattern was actually knitted into the garment. So when I saw it, I knew I had to work it into a mermaid piece. So it was white when I bought it. I brought it home and I used acrylic paint to soak it essentially with this beautiful variation of turquoise and purples and magenta. and it was all the same piece that I did that with, and then I cut strands for her hair. I cut the bodice of her dress out, and it was a really unusual fabric, and I was just really inspired by it. And that's often what happens with my pieces, is that my inspiration will often start with the materials that I find. And I'll find maybe a handful of, maybe just one or a handful of fabrics, maybe a jewelry piece that I know I want to take apart. But whatever it may be a paper, or who knows what, but whatever it may be, I'll see it and I'll know that I want to work it into a piece. And sometimes that material alone is what inspires my idea for a whole piece. So in this case, like I said, I found this garment, this sweater that had the fish scale pattern. It's highly textural too. It's maybe hard, well, let's see, you can hopefully see in that close-up photo. I've added the white for some shimmer and glimmer, and then I've created the shading with paint. But those little scales that you see are actually there. They are actually texturally there, and there's some topography going on. You can probably see in that picture some of the actual knit. So it really, once I added the paint and the highlights and the color, it just really translates well to a fish scale type effect. So I've been really pleased with that. You can see there the trim that I've created for the bodice of her dress. Again, that big, pretty jewel there in the center that highlights the neckline of her garment. And you can see some of her hair there that I've created with some fabric. There's some paper, some tissue you can see there. And there with her face, you can see how that hair is swirling around her face and kind of enveloping her. You can see part of that knitted fabric there on either side of her temples. And so there's some netting there that I've used as well. I thought that was a nice way to convey kind of that underwater theme. So the other thing that I will point out here is her garment. And again, I've used some of the same fabric for the bodice and for her hair. And then here I have used actually 2 layers of fabric. I created the sleeves of her garment with one type of fabric, and then I used an overlay of a netted fabric. It's more of not as much of a geometric net, but it's rather like a webbing. It's kind of a webbed fabric, more of a random webbing, but you can see through it, kind of like a veil. So it adds some nice texture, and you can see the fabric that lays underneath it. And I've done the same thing here with the bottom of her torso. And then all these little gems here are individually attached, individually placed all along her neckline. And you'll also notice, if you look really closely, which probably isn't even visible in the photos, but I've used some pages from a book to do some collage work here, and it's in Japanese. So you'll often find that with my pieces. I do a lot of collage, and I usually use pages from books that are in other languages, so that it creates a little bit more mysterious effect. Unless you speak Japanese or whatever language book I've used. But generally, I like to do that. I think it adds a little bit of mystique to the collage. So this piece is, again, it's 24 by 36, super highly textural. You've got the beautiful kind of swirling composition with her hair swooping around and kind of flowing in the current of the water. It's kind of gently enveloping her. I think this piece would look fantastic in a beach house. in any coastal kind of setting. The colors are super fresh and bright and just refreshing. It would look fantastic in any bright white room. I think that we've got some room shots. I'm not sure if we'll be able to come up with them. Right, there we go. So that's in actually more of a kitchen area, but the light wall behind her kind of highlights the bright pastels in the piece. And then, of course, in this case, it looked great with the turquoise or sky blue cupboards. So yeah, I think this piece would look fantastic in any bright beach setting. It's available in my Amazon store. Let's talk for a minute about how these pieces get shipped to the collectors, because that's something that people are often concerned about and wonder about. Not everyone has purchased original fine art online. Often people traditionally buy original pieces directly from a gallery, so they have they've seen the piece in person and probably interacted with the gallery owners and get information on how the piece is going to be shipped to them. And it's really not that different when we sell pieces, my pieces on Amazon, because first of all, we offer free shipping, which is great. The pieces that are purchased and collected via Amazon, we package them up in professionally made, custom-made crates that are made specifically for my paintings. They're made to our exact specs. They are the perfect size to fit these paintings right in and snug them down in there very tightly. They are thick enough to allow for the texture of my pieces to be well protected. So there are no worries in terms of having these pieces shipped long distances, cross country, wherever they may need to go. They are going to be safe and secure. That's something that we've put a lot of thought and effort and research into, is making sure that we've chosen the best and most secure ways to ship these pieces. What else? We talked about the canvas, which is just top-notch, highest quality canvas, stretched canvas. And that's important to me, because if I'm going to put this much effort into an original piece, I want to make sure that I'm working on the best quality materials, the best quality foundation that I can get. And this definitely is that. So the pieces are all covered. When I'm finished with them, they're covered completely with a professional UV coating, an acrylic varnish that protects the piece from UV damage. So whenever we have original art in our homes, we always want to display the pieces in a nice, brightly lit room with lots of sunshine, which is the best way to enjoy an original piece of art, but it's also somewhat perilous for the artwork. So we don't want the sunshine to be able to damage or fade the piece. So in order to avoid that, I always apply at least 2 coats of professional grade UV protectant varnish on my pieces, and this one is no different. So that coating, it is also on the edges, so that you're covered on the edges as well. That is going to not only protect it from the UV damage, potential UV damage, but also from dirt, from dust. Obviously my pieces involve and include a lot of the topography, the high texture. It creates a lot of crevices and nooks and crannies for dust to settle into. So this UV protectant varnish helps seal that, and so that you're not going to wind up with lots of dirt and dust settling in there. And also all of the collage and mixed media aspects that I add to the pieces, I use a very secure glue. I make very sure that all the pieces are glued on, stitched on. However I attach them, they're very well attached. But then I like to add the UV coating, the protective varnish, because that actually seals the entire piece. And if there's just any one little tiny spot that didn't get enough glue, this varnish kind of penetrates and coats the entire piece so that everything is very well sealed and secured. So I'm very, I don't consider a piece finished until I apply the protective varnish. So, and it also adds a nice, really nice shine to the piece because I use a high gloss varnish. So it creates a lot of shimmer and the texture is already there, but this adds just a whole nother aspect of depth and the way the light hits the texture and bounces off the varnish. It just really creates a really deep experience when you're viewing the original piece. So let's see, I'm looking at my comments to see if I have anything to respond to here. And I wanted to go back to the name. So when I name my pieces, I usually have some idea of what I want to convey with the name. I usually try to reflect I usually try to reference the theme of the piece with the name that I give the subject. So in this piece, I've named her Queen Safine, and Safine is Urdu for she who is strong. And so I thought that was an appropriate name, and I thought it was a pretty name. So that is her name, is Queen Safine. And I thought she was a great harbinger of summer, if you will. I think she's a great way for us to jump into summer with the beach theme, the underwater theme. Makes you want to go for a swim with her. So I thought this was a good piece to choose for the Memorial Day weekend and the beginning of our summer. So again, this is the original painting, Queen Safine, 24 by 36. And again, she's available in the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. You can get there through my Facebook page, or you can just search Tiger Lily, Lily Studios on Amazon. We're going to scan her here one more time so you can see all that beautiful detail. Painstaking detail, really. I mean, all of my pieces include a lot of time and pretty tedious work, I have to say, but I love it, I enjoy it, and I hope that you love the effect. This piece, as I mentioned last night, we broadcast on Amazon, and I mentioned that this piece was one that took me a little while to connect with when she was finished. I didn't dislike the piece, but it took me a little while to really connect with her, and sometimes that happens. But now that I have, after I finished the piece and I set it up in my studio and I worked on some other pieces, after I spent some time with her, I have to say that she's actually one of my favorites from my Corona series. I really love really everything about her. I love her expression. Her pupils are a little bit dilated, so she's got a pretty hypnotic stare. It's pretty mesmerizing, really, to lock eyes with her. So she's got something special going on there with her eyes. And then the composition with the spiral movement of her hair around her face, and the texture is just off the charts. I mean, this piece, all of my pieces are super highly textural, but this piece, especially with that really cool knitted fabric, the texture is really a super prominent component of the piece. So I've really I've enjoyed having her around, and I will miss her when she goes. So, but she is available to collect, and So that is Queen Safine. So fluidity was the other word that comes up when I've talked about this piece and when people have looked at this piece. People enjoy the fluidity that's represented by her hair. And I think that that's another, that's something else that is probably representative, if you will, or reflected in the theme of the whole series. Fluidity is something that's necessary to navigate difficulties in life, and certainly I found that fluidity was important to get myself through breast cancer treatment. So I think that it's interesting and always fun to see what kinds of words and descriptions kind of emerge when people look at the pieces, and then how those words correspond with the situation that brought me to create the piece. So anyway, that is Queen Safine. Again, the original painting is on Amazon, and we offer free shipping. So if you're interested in collecting her, feel free to reach out to me. I can answer lots of questions or send more pictures or whatever you feel like you need in terms of more information about beautiful Queen Safine. And so now that we've talked about the original painting, what I'd like to talk about is some of the merchandise that I have available featuring Queen Safine. So with a lot of my paintings, not all of them yet, we're working on that, but with a lot of my paintings, I offer the images on various merchandise that's also available in the Amazon store, the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. So a lot of people who admire or like the original pieces that I've created, but maybe aren't in a position to collect the original piece, but they want that image in their life, I'm happy to be able to provide merchandise that features the images so that you can, no matter your budget, you can still have this beautiful queen in your life. So we're going to start here with the tote bag that I offer that has beautiful Queen Safine on it. So this is the tote bag that I have. Let's see, there we go. And you can see that much of the texture is reflected in this reproduction. I'm very happy with these tote bags because you can see all of that beautiful texture in her hair, in her crown. You can see that the crown is actually a 3D crafted creation rather than just painted. So the reproduction of this piece allows for all of that beautiful detail. The printing quality I think is fantastic because again it shows all those beautiful little every little detail of the piece, and the color translation is also fantastic. You can see, I mean, here it is right next to the original piece, and it's got a lot of the same vibrancy. You're never going to achieve the exact an exact replica, and especially on a utilitarian product, but I think it's pretty close, and I'm very pleased with this printing on this product. So the other thing that I love about these tote bags is that, first of all, it's printed on both sides, obviously, so you've got her beautiful face on each side, and so no matter which way you sling it over your shoulder, you're going to have her gorgeous face staring outward. This is a 16 by 16 tote bag, so it's a great size. It is gusseted, so you will see the bottom here has some a little bit of a platform there. It's not just two pieces of fabric sewn together like a pillowcase, like a sack. It's actually a gusseted bag, like a gift bag. So you can see that I can actually set it on the table and it'll actually sit up on its own. So, and that is also in part due to not just the gusseting on the bottom of the bag, but also the structure of the fabric. So it's not a cotton canvas, it's not that stiff, but it's a nice structured polyester. This will soften if you wash it in the washing machine. I have been forced to wash some of these bags in the washing machine, and I've even put them in the dryer. And what will happen is it will soften a bit. So, for example, it probably wouldn't be able to stand up by itself like this after it has been washed and dried. But what is the most important is that the image quality will not be deteriorated. So I had dropped one of my bags. I use these as my purse usually, and I had dropped one in the mud, and I was upset, but I thought, well, okay, this is a good opportunity to see how well this will wash and dry. And so I threw it in the washer, and then I threw it in the dryer. The circumstances were such that I didn't have time to hang it to dry, so I thought, what the heck, let's just go for it and see what happens. So I threw it in the dryer. Turned out beautifully. So again, the only difference I could tell was that the fabric softened a bit. And some people prefer that. They prefer kind of a softer, scrunchier bag, if you will. So there's that. You can certainly just spot clean it as well if it needs it, but it will hold up just fine in the washer and the dryer. And these have really nice, sturdy, strong cotton straps attached on the inside rather than the outside, which I like because that does not interfere with the design. And what else is great about this bag? The size is super. Like I said, it's a 16 by 16, which makes it great for groceries. You can easily put, a couple cartons of milk in here. The gusseted bottom is going to help accommodate, any sort of box or something with some width here. And then, of course, like I said, I use these as a purse all the time. I have people who purchase them as craft bags, knitting bags. It's just a great tote bag, and a great tote bag is just, you can use it for anything. You're going to get lots of comments and compliments on it, I can tell you that, because I carry one of these, not necessarily Queen Safine, but I carry one of my queens on a tote bag pretty much every day that I go out, and I constantly get comments and compliments on the beautiful faces that I wear into the world, if you will. So this is the 16 by 16 tote bag. There's just one size available in the tote bag. You can get it in the Amazon, the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. If you go to if you're on my Facebook page, which is Susan M. Epperly Artist, you can scroll down and find my shop, and you can carry on over to Amazon from those links as well. And so lots of different ways to get to this product. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can always direct message me and I can head you in the right direction. So this is the Queen Safine tote bag. Great bag. You will see also behind me here, if I can move out of the way, we've got Empress Amethyst on her tote bag as well. Similar color palette. They both have that beautiful pastel background, and Empress Amethyst here has a beautiful flower crown instead of a traditional kind of metal crown that you might expect on a queen. But, queens wear all different kinds of crowns. So Empress Amethyst has her flower crown. So next, let's talk about the pillow. So this is there are two sizes of the pillow. This is the 16 by 16 pillow featuring Queen Safine. And we also have an 18 by 18 available in the Amazon store. So depending on what kind of space you're trying to fill, what kind of, how big your chair, your couch is that you want to display this on, one size obviously may be better than the other for you. I love the printing, the color quality, everything about this pillow. The printing is great. Again, you can see all the beautiful texture of her hair and her crown. You can tell that the original piece included a lot of texture. It all translates really nicely onto the printed pillow. And again, this is a nice, it's a very similar fabric to the tote bag. So it's a structured polyester. It's, again, not a cotton canvas, but it's a nice, not stiff or hard, but it's got a nice durability to it. So that is something that I like a lot about these pillows. And the other thing that I'm always quick to mention is the fact that they are nice and stuffed. So they're not a flat, flimsy, wimpy pillow. They're stuffed with lots of fiberfill. So, you know, they're going, when you use them and you actually put some wear and tear on them, they're not going to flatten out like pillows sometimes do. So again, I've seen this image, Queen Safine, on the pillow used on the deck chairs at beach houses. Some folks have just, no matter where they live, some folks just have a mermaid theme in their living room or their sitting room. So she would obviously make a great addition to any kind of mermaid themed environment, and the beautiful pastel colors, those fresh, cool colors, are going to complement a lot of different types of decors. So this is the 16 by 16 Queen Safine pillow. Again, I've got pillows featuring a lot of my paintings, but I think that this is a particularly well translated piece. So again, you can find her in the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store, and you can get there from my Facebook page. So that's the Queen Safine pillow. And then there's also a t-shirt available with Queen Safine. I don't have an example of that to show here today. But what I do have to show is the Queen Safine phone case and pop socket. So these are a couple of newer products that we have featuring Queen Safine. And here you can see the phone case. This is for an iPhone, but we also have them available for Galaxy phones. So whichever kind of phone you have, you're likely to be able to find the case that you need. And then that little round button thing is a pop socket. And I'm going to demonstrate here in a minute how those work. But I'm really pleased with the printing on both of these products. Again, the image quality is really nice. It's very clear. You can see all the beautiful detail from the original painting, and the printing is very clear, and the color translation is beautiful. And I also like the design of this phone case because we've worked some extended that underwater background onto the actual case itself. So I'm going to grab here. There you go. You can see the how we've kind of incorporated her into an underwater theme that extends across the whole phone case there. So that is, of course, Queen Safine, but what I have to show you here is an example of, this is the Queen of Knowing, and she was another painting. She's another painting from my Corona series, and we featured her a few weeks ago. But what I have here is the phone case, the iPhone case, with the Queen of Knowing's image on it. And then we have applied one of the pop sockets to this case. So the first thing I want to show you about the phone case itself is that, and granted, obviously, if you don't have the pop socket on it, you're not going to see that image. You're just going to see her with the yellow up above. And then what I want to show about this case is that you can swap them out super easily. So if you can't decide and you want to get several of my paintings on your phone cases, you can put this part on your phone and it can stay on your phone all the time. And then this part, the plastic part with the actual image on it, you can just pop on and off very easily. So it's just as easy as changing your earrings to match your outfit. You can swap your phone case every day or however often you want. So you don't have to mess with wrangling your phone out of the case every time you want to switch your case. You just leave this on all the time and then pop that baby right on there, no problem. And you can do that as often as you want. And then I will show you the pop socket and how that works. And you're going to see here Queen Sophine coming around. So the button part of this, first I'll show you how it pops out. So you just pull it out, it kind of telescopes out. And let me see if I can, there we go. Can you see that up against? You've got like a little platform that pops out from the back of your phone. And you can use this part to prop your phone up on a table. If you want to just prop it up, you know, to read your emails or whatever, you can obviously, you know, apply it in such a way that you can turn it horizontally to watch a movie or watch a video. And then the great part is that you can hold your phone very easily with this. So if you've not ever had one of these before, they're pretty great. They allow you to not, you know, go hands-free, but you can certainly worry a lot less about dropping your phone when you've got one of these on, because you can just hold it very easily. It's just going to kind of hang on your fingers there rather than having to grip it and grab it all the time. So it's less fatiguing for your hands, certainly, since we all have our phones in our hands all the time. So that is a great use of it. And then again, you can use it to prop your phone up on a tabletop if you need to a little bit of tilt there to see it. So there's that. You can, you know, if you put it more in the center, you could arrange it so that you can see a movie or whatever you want to do with your phone. So, and the other fun part about the pop socket is that, again, like with the phone case, you can swap it out super easily. So you're just going to pop it down flat, and then you're going to push down and twist. And if I can twist the right way, I need to go, there we go, counterclockwise. And then it comes off. And so this black sticker part can stay on whichever phone case you've applied it to. And then if you have several pop sockets, and again, I have several of my paintings on different pop sockets. So if you have several, you can just swap this out at will. Like I said, like as easy as changing your earrings to match your outfit. So you can decide you want to you're going to go to the library, so you want to pop the Queen of Knowing on there. You're going to go to the beach, so you want to pop Queen Sophine on there, no problem. You're just going to line it up there and snap it in and twist it on, and there it is. It's right back on. And then you can pop it out and use it to hold your phone. So it's a pretty great product, and again, I'm really pleased with the way my artwork has translated onto both the phone cases and the pop sockets. These images are very small, but they're very, very detailed. They're very, the printing quality is great, so you can really see the detail of the painting, the artwork on there. It's a great way to carry some of this beauty with you every day, all the time. And again, especially if you're not in the position or not prepared to collect any of my original work, it's really fun to collect some of the merchandise so that you can have that artwork nearby all the time. So that is the phone case and the pop socket we have available. And let's see, I mentioned the t-shirt. We don't have the t-shirt to show, but it is also in the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. Lots of other products, lots of other merchandise available in the Tiger Lily Studios Amazon store. Lots of original paintings you can go peruse. And then also a lot of middle of the road pieces, meaning smaller originals. And I'll point out here on the wall here, I've got some of my embellished embroidery hoop prints. These are my images, my paintings that have been printed on cotton and framed in embroidery hoops, and then I hand paint them, I hand bead them, I hand embroider them, I hand embellish them. So I spend oodles and oodles of time kind of reimagining, recreating these images, as embellished prints. So these are a super fun way to collect some of my work. They are originals in that they are one of a kind. They are not the original painting, of course, on which the piece is based. But they are one of a kind. So each of these, as I work with them, they're going to become entirely unique and different than all the rest. So they're a really affordable price point. They're a price point at which you can collect one or a few and group them together. They're fun to incorporate into like a gallery wall with other artwork, other similarly themed artwork, or again, you know, you can pick 2 or 3 of my queens and put them together into a grouping. I've seen people use these beautifully in like little altar shrines, maybe memorial shrines to someone, a woman, or someone who is important to them, family member, someone who's passed. I think that's a beautiful use of these pieces, and I'm honored that people use them that way. There's another one here. This is, I'll just quickly mention their names just so that if you're looking on the Amazon store and you see one that here that catches your eye, you'll know who to look for. So this is Rayita Flora Maria, and then I have, let's see, Seraph Tristana, I have Chiefess Magnolia, Goddess Era, and Priestess Paloma. So those are the pieces that are embellished and framed in the embroidery hoops here. And you'll find several of them in the Amazon store. And again, they're all different, regardless of whether 2 have used or started with the same original image. They're all going to be unique and different and really beautiful in their own way. So let me just pop in here and see if we have any questions that we need to answer, because if we do, I don't want to leave anybody hanging. So let's see, then I think that wraps up what we wanted to talk about today. And I want to thank you for joining me for Art Gallery Live. I want to thank you for spending some of your Memorial Day weekend here with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of it, and I hope you'll, if you haven't done so already, I hope you'll like the Facebook page, my Susan M. Epperly Artist Facebook page, so that you can get a heads up when I come on to do these live presentations. And again, in the future, feel free to jump in and ask questions and engage. That's what makes it fun for me. So again, thanks for joining me. I'm artist Susan M. Epperly, and I'll see you next time.